Good afternoon. This is Clem, and I'm trying to do a little adjunctive to what I've already been doing on Facebook and YouTube. The ones that I've been doing, one is called Of God and Men, and the other one is called TBI, Stroke, a Stroke of Luck, and Of God and Men. The difference between the two is the second one I've just started, and I'm numbering the episodes of it so you can follow it in order. But it's designed primarily for people who have had a brain injury or a stroke, and they have so much to learn all over again, and they have a great deal of things that can create big problems for them and be big questions. I think that either one of them is good for anybody to read because while they're not specific in religion, they are about your relationship with God, however you define Him or however you know Him. And I hope that you know Him. Some people don't know Him, or they don't claim to know Him, but they know more than they think, simply because they have the energy which comes from God. That energy which gives life isn't everything. What I'm doing in Of God and Men is trying to give you different ways to look at things, to understand how everything comes into play in your life. Things that you don't know, things that you don't see, and yet they still affect you. I try to deal with 100% constants. In other words, in one episode I talked about uh, good and evil. No matter how you think of it, or no matter how you apply it, what I have told you is true. Look at it and look at your life and see if it doesn't reflect the truth every time, 100%. I know people are not used to hearing that and they're not used to seeing it because everybody wants to prove their truth to you. I'm doing it a little bit differently. I am telling you what's there and you tell yourself, try it yourself. Is it true in your life? Is it not true in your life? I think you'll find it's always true. If you find that it isn't, please let me know. Because every time I've tried it, and no matter what the situation, historically and personally, it's true every time. So those are the things I try to talk about because they're 100% true. And they're 100% provable within yourself. What I tell you in these things is not to tell you this is the way it's got to be. This is the way it is. I mean, you can play with the words all you want. It's not going to change what is. And that's why I felt that this was important. And I also felt it was important to deal with the things we take as basic. The very first one, which everybody has struggled with for centuries, was the difference between good and evil. What is good and what is evil? Good always leads to more, and evil divides. But that is the reason they exist. You can't define anything without them. You can't know anything for certain without separating them, without knowing what the difference is. And yet they're never apart. They're always together because they're opposite sides of the same coin. If one exists, the other exists. That's truth. As much as we would like to close our eyes and think, no, that's not true, the bottom line is it is true. while we look at something and we only see the side we can see, and sometimes we can imagine the other sides, but most of the time we can't, and we don't take the time to imagine the other sides. But I'm telling you that they're there. And if you care to take a look, you'll see that I'm telling you the truth. Well, it's the same thing with good and evil. Apply it for yourself. Don't take it from me. Take it from your own heart, from your own mind. That's only the beginning, because that leads you to a scale by which you're going to judge everything in your life. Everything you come up with, everything you come into, everything you associate with is going to bring up that concept. Because you have to decide whether it's good or it's evil. Is it something you want, or is it something you don't? That scale that you use to decide which is which is also extremely important. That is judgment. The reality of judgment is you only feel. You feel what you did, what goes on inside your mind. Nobody else does, only you. So, understanding what's good and evil is going to relate to you 100%. And then we come up with the idea of worth, of value. What is something is worth? Well, true worth is measured in your feelings. What is your car worth? How much do you feel about it? What is your life worth? How much do you feel about it? What's it worth to somebody else? Maybe nothing. But to you, it's worth everything. Well, when we created society, society had a different idea. Society said, we're going to use value to determine how much something's worth. Because they know they can't control your feelings, and they can't truly reflect value or worth. They can only reflect what they want to call value. But value is really not something that you need. It's not going to help you. And generally, it's going to cause you more problems than you got to begin with. So understand the difference between value and worth. Worth is a very personal thing. Value is being subject to everybody else's judgment. If you want to do that, more power to you. Like I said, everything in life you give power to. If you give it the ability to allow you to have feelings, you will have feelings about it. And they're not going to be good. Very seldom will you see them rise or make things worth more. No, your feelings, your worth, is done by you and you alone. It's what you decide to feel about. Now, you can give that up if you want to give somebody else the power to dictate to you what you're worth or what your value is or should be. You can give that up. It doesn't work that way. You can lie to yourself and think I gave it up, but it doesn't work like that. When God designed all this, He designed all this with the understanding that worth is what you will have because of your own feelings. That's what worth is. Value, that's what somebody else wants to put on it. And it can be very disappointing what somebody else values. So, these things are critical. Understanding worth and value leads to the one thing that will turn on everything. And that is the true understanding of what this place is and why it exists, why we're here. It has to do with your worth. I discovered it when I found the answer, or God showed me the answer of the question, what is the difference between I require mercy, I do not require sacrifice, if you knew the difference. When He showed me the difference, He showed me all about being worth. versus value. Value is a sacrifice. It's what you're going to give up to make other people happy. Worth is when you stay true to your personal feelings, your personal desires, your personal feelings, and other people appreciate and also hold you according to those personal feelings. That's mercy. That is always going to cause more good feelings within you at the very least, and generally with everybody. So it's something to consider. It's a vital understanding. And when you understand it, you can understand why God made this place, why He gave you the authority He gave you to decide to what you were going to feel about and what you weren't. By doing that, He gave you dominion. By doing that, He gave you the ability to change everything, to have control over everything. But we've gone too far, because He gave that to each and every individual, not to each group, not to society. He gave it to the individual. Unfortunately, a lot of the individuals give that power to society, and that never works out well for anybody. So I just want you to try to understand this is a vital understanding. And I know it sounds so simple. It sounds so basic. Good and evil. Everybody heard about good and evil since they were a kid. Sacrifice and mercy, not necessarily. Because people didn't understand the difference between worth and value. Because it didn't mean any difference to them. They thought value is worth, and it's not. Not at all. But a lot of people live to make that dream, or what they consider a dream, a reality. It never will work. It never has. It never can. Because no one else can control your feelings, only you. I hope that you'll take the time to watch all the videos, to talk about them, to think about them, and hopefully it'll lead you to your own answers. I love you. See ya. Bye.